All right, heading into week 14 of the fantasy football season, you need a win to get into the fantasy playoffs or to get a higher seed. I'm going to give you my start and sits at the wide receiver position. We have the Falcons, Bears, Packers, Colts, Saints, and Commanders on bye. A lot of good wide receivers that you will not be able to play. So I hope that this video is going to be helpful. I'm going to try and not choose like very obvious names. I'm going to give you names that are kind of on the edge and either give you the confidence to start them or maybe the advice to sit them. Before we get to that, like the video, comment down below your most difficult start sit decision this week. I would like to know, and then subscribe if you like the content. All right, let's get straight to it. My first start of the week is Christian Kirk at the Tennessee Titans. This is a fantastic matchup for all wide receivers. We are seeing it week in and week out. Tight ends, our wide receivers are dominating the Tennessee Titans. Most recently, and yes, I know it's different, but most recently, look at every other week, it's been someone. Most recently, it was AJ Brown, who put up a huge performance versus his former team. And I believe was like the wide receiver one on the week. Dominant performance for him. Now Christian Kirk, who has since week 9 not seen less than 8 targets a game. He is the most consistent, the most reliable wide receiver on this team. I know a lot of people like Zay Jones out there, but he had an awful game last week in what should have been a smash matchup. And I watched it. I watched this entire game. He dropped like 5 wide open passes with no one around him. And that is not the kind of play that Trevor Lawrence needs as he's trying to grow and really build on this second year campaign. Kirk is going to be his wide receiver one here for the rest of the season. It's a fantastic matchup. You should start him with the utmost confidence. He should be a top 20 wide receiver here in week 14. So if he's your flex, if he's your wide receiver 2, like he is for me, start him with confidence. He could get back into the end zone as well versus this Tennessee Titans who are getting scored touchdowns by wide receivers consistently. All right, my second start of the week is a player who did not perform all that well last week, and that is Adam Thielen. All right. Has been really inconsistent all year. We have a game where he was over 21 points. We have multiple games under 5 points. We have like 6 or 7 games under 10 points. It's been up, it's been down. But the last time I told you guys to start him was versus Miami in week 6 when he scored a touchdown and he had 15 fantasy points. So I don't want to lead you astray, but I think this is a very good opportunity for him. He plays the Lions, and the Lions give up the 5th most points to the fantasy wide receiver position. Last time Adam Thielen played the Lions was week 3, where he had 6 receptions on 8 targets for 61 yards and a touchdown. I think Adam Thielen could get back into the end zone this week. It is a smash matchup for wide receivers, for tight ends, for TJ Hawkinson, for Dalvin Cook. Everyone should get a little bit of action in this game. So if you need to cover off someone who's on a bye, Adam Thielen is a fine option this week. At least the matchup is telling us so. All right, the third start of the week for me, again, another player who is kind of up, kind of down. That is Jerry Jeudy, coming back from ankle injury in week 13. He had 4 targets. He got all of them for 65 yards. I expect his role to now increase. That Courtland Sutton is dealing with a hamstring injury. Hamstring injuries typically take a while to fully heal, and the only thing that heals them is time. So I don't think Sutton's going to play in this game. So that means that Jeudy should get a lot of opportunity. The Chiefs have been dominated by wide receivers. In fact, remember Christian Kirk in week 10, that was his best game of the year versus the Kansas City Chiefs, where he put up 9 catches for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wide receivers have been very, very good versus this Chiefs secondary, who has been injured a lot. And is one of the weak points of this team, really, if we're honest. So Dulcich and Jeudy should be great options. Maybe Russ has a bounce back game, but regardless, I expect a 10 to 15 point game for Jerry Jeudy. Now the opportunities will be opened up for him. All right, my 4th start of the week, which was actually my start of the week last week as well, because I love the matchup, and that is Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett faces the Carolina Panthers, who currently give up the 11th most points to fantasy wide receivers. So this is a very, very good matchup. Last time out, he had 9 catches on 12 targets for 128 yards and a touchdown. and that was versus the Rams. And what was supposed to be a blowout match, a blowout game, the Rams made it a game. I think the Panthers will be able to make this game as well, and Lockett will be a necessary asset for Geno Smith, who has been absolutely slinging it. So ride the hot hand with Tyler Lockett. He hasn't had a bad game since week 6. Every other game has been over 11 fantasy points. He's been one of the best fantasy picks this year. Continue to ride the hot hand. All right, for the next 2 starts of the week, I'm going to give you desperation start options. You have injuries, bye weeks, things that you need to cover off. These are not guys that I would typically put in my lineup, but if I'm desperate and I need an option, I like their matchups. The first one is George Pickens, who just had a very bad game in a very good matchup. Very confusing. He only had 2 targets. He caught 1 of them. That's it, in one of the best matchups in all of fantasy. But the reason for that is because the Steelers were dominating the Falcons on the ground, and they also were winning in that game. Now he goes up against the Ravens, who currently give up the 8th most points to fantasy wide receivers. So this is a desperation start. Talented player, should get targets again, should be a much more competitive game, divisional game. So expect George Pickens to bounce back with another, maybe let's say 10 to 15 point performance. In my last desperation start, if he is healthy, will be TREYlon Burks. I really wonder what TREYlon Burks would have done last week, because he was off to a very good start, caught that touchdown. What an incredible catch, a grown man catch. I'm so excited about his future in dynasty football specifically. But this is a great matchup versus the Jags, who give up the 9th most points to fantasy wide receivers. So if he's healthy, and even if he didn't play all week and he's coming back from the injury, again, desperation start, then I'm willing to throw him out there. All right, let's get to some of my sits of the week. The first sit of the week for me would be any Chiefs wide receiver not named Juju Smith-Schuster. So your MVS, your Sky Moores, all the above. You just cannot start them in this matchup versus the Broncos. The Broncos give up the 2nd fewest points to wide receivers. And yes, I know it's Patrick Mahomes, but who are you going to start? Because it's been wildly inconsistent all year. My second sit of the week is going to be Gabriel Davis. He scored a touchdown last week, and I think we could all agree it wasn't even a good play. He scored 9 fantasy points and he got a touchdown. Like, how is it possible to have such a poor performance? Now he goes up against the Jets, who give up the 4th fewest points to fantasy wide receivers. I think he should be looking elsewhere, because Gabe Davis right now is just not performing. Since week 8, there's like 1 game you would be happy with from Gabe Davis. In my last sit of the week, I know before the bye week he had a great game, over 20 points, and got into the end zone. But I am not playing DJ Moore this week versus the Seahawks. I believe Tariq Woolen will be on DJ Moore. Tariq Woolen, who has been an absolute steal for the Seattle Seahawks. He has been incredible. He's huge. He's fast. He can cover well. He was a steal in the draft. I think he's probably a top 12 cornerback in the league right now as a rookie. So I don't want to play DJ Moore. I know it's Sam Darnold, but I think there are much better options out there. So those are my starts and sits of the week. I hope it's going to help you get the W that you need to make it into the playoffs. Again, like the video, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know your most difficult start sit decision this week.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos,
watch it.
You can also subscribe
right now
if you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/FantasyLand fam.